drop the seeds, right? And whether, they'll be watered and come to fruition or not. Um, but in some cases, I just decide like maybe it's just in divine order that we need to see some of our children dying of Alzheimer's and other neurological damage before the people are ready to begin to question the so-called experts that tell us we have to wear a face diaper. I don't know, family, that really broke my heart, and I'm just saying prayers, like it's just so bad. Like, I hate to see that. Um, the next thing I noticed that was a little out of the ordinary was going up the steps to board this airplane, because it didn't have a jet walk or a catwalk or whatever you call that. It had like the steps where you go up. And there was a guy in front of me, and he could have been like in his early 30s. And he was, you could tell he didn't have a good diet. He was, wouldn't say obese, but he was like at least, I don't know. Well, he was very, very overweight. Let's just say that. And he had his face mask on, and he had his backpack. Like we all have our, shit that we're carrying through the airport, and we're rushing to get to the planes, and we're using a lot of, energy, and energy requires us to bring in the chi, bring in the oxygen. And when you got your face covered, it leads to fatigue for even climbing some stairs in your mid 30s. This guy was like, his body, the way he was posturing himself going up the stairs, like his feet were a full 2 to 3 feet apart, and he was like struggling. You could see shaking to pick one foot up and put it on the stair, and then he'd have to sit there and like rest and relax before he picked up his other foot. And I was, hoping he didn't like pass out on the stairs and fall back and take out me and everybody else behind him. But it was really another indication to see this oxygen deprivation coupled with already pre-existing issues. In this case, this man was overweight and out of shape, and he could have not only passed out and hurt himself, but everybody else that was on those stairs as well. What else was? Oh yeah, so on the plane, there was this announcement that basically said to keep your mask, your face diaper mask, not the oxygen mask that you normally talk about on the airplane if the cabin loses pressure, but to keep your face diaper in place, quote unquote, firmly and comfortably, just like the recording that says, firmly and comfortably, and tie it off and secure your mask before you put the mask of your child on. It said to put your mask on firmly and comfortably in place because it's didn't it used to be put the mask on an airplane when the cabin lost pressure and the oxygen ceased to flow within the cabin, and you needed these masks so you could receive oxygen? Does anybody see the irony here? Like, and they still play that message. If the cabin pressure and the mask will drop from the ceiling and blah blah blah, and I'm like, why? How? You literally just said on one hand you don't want me to get oxygen, and then the next message comes on and says that you do. What do I make up your mind? Do I or do I not need oxygen? Oh yeah, and then they went on to say that HIPAA filters are in place to further protect you against viruses that are impossible to transmit through the air or in any other fashion except for a blood transfusion. And yeah, about those HIPAA filters, I noticed when I got on the plane, they're spraying things, nano-sized particulate matter in the airplanes. It was so obvious to me. And the chemicals, oh my God, the chemicals were off the chart. I think I had a whole nother entry on chemicals. Then they went on with this next announcement that, after we took off and said to keep your seatbelts on and blah, blah, blah. But instead of saying, we're going to pass through with peanuts and, your favorite beverage now as a refreshment, they said, we're going to come through the cabin soon and offer more hand sanitizer. And then on the plane, there was no meal service or even peanut service, nothing, they said, but you could purchase food on the airplane, which is not really food. It's corporate processed, cabal owned, fake food that it's really dangerous for your health, because it has these nanobots in it, especially. They work with all the QR codes on your phone to continue to track and trace you, knowing exactly what you consumed on the plane and factoring into the poisons that they know that are in this food and how those poisons and toxins are going to affect your body. And then they can dial in frequencies using the nanobots to emit certain functions within your body to enhance the nature of this toxic food that you just consumed, because you can't even buy food on the plane without a QR code on your phone. So but yes, like I said, there was an abundance of toxic chemicals to pollute the water and the air everywhere I went. The chemicals were being sprayed in the aircraft. The floors were being mopped with chemicals. Literally, like, this attendant just sat in there just nonstop mopping with chemicals. And then, of course, all those chemicals get flushed down the toilets and down the drains to pollute the water, to create an even further toxic environment. Maybe if they were mopping with like essential oils and stuff like that, that would be cool. But everywhere I went, my eyes were burning, my nostrils were burning, and my throat was burning. And then at some point during the day, I started to get like a frog in my throat. It was just horrible, the stuff that was sprayed and put everywhere. It was a toxic shitstorm. It really was. What else was interesting? Oh yeah. Now when we got on the plane, it was as usual. We're all walking across the tarmac and we're all going up the stairs. There's no antisocial distancing. It's all about hurry up and get on the plane, get to your seat, and all that. But when the plane landed, they made an announcement saying that due to antisocial distancing requirements, they were only going to let us off the plane one row at a time. And the flight attendant came down, like literally each row, and she would open the cupboards overhead, the overhead bins, and then she would step back one row and go into a military parade rest position. If you don't know what that is, look up parade rest. It's 21 gun salute, parade rest, and then ready, aim, fire. Like, so obviously, like, straight up military stuff like you would see the guards do in prisons and stuff like that, to basically say no one passes me, no one behind me is allowed to even stand up or open the bin or get your things out or get ready. And I don't care if you've got 15 minutes to make your connection. You're going to get off the plane one at a time, just like I said. Like, we didn't do this getting onto the plane, and we certainly didn't do it while we were flying, because there were people sat next to one another throughout the airplane. So, but everybody just kind of sits down and like obeys. And the message came across first in Spanish, and I was going to, I can get away with this too because I'm a gringo. I can stand up and disobey and open the overhead bin and take out my things and make my way to the front. And then when the message comes on in English, then I don't have so much leeway. And then I can just go, I can pretend like I didn't hear it or I didn't understand the Spanish message. But I do make it a point to go, what? Like, now that I heard the message in English, that's stupid. I say, I do like the loco international symbol for that's loco. That's crazy. But yeah, like this whole, again, it's conditioning. Slave, you will get up when I say get up. You will get your bags when I say you can get your bags, and you will get off the plane when I say you can. And if you're in row 37A and you've got 10 minutes to make your connection, I don't care. You're going to do it like I say I'm going to. You know what I mean? It's just like more of this conditioning. So that was all the all the weird stuff, right? Now I wanted to leave this off with some good news. So at the good news section of this, I will indicate that at one of the so-called temperature check stations, because I think I had to have my temperature checked like 3 times before I even got on the plane. And instead of complying, I told the staff, no thanks, I don't participate in rituals. And I said it in Spanish. And at 2 out of 3 times, the staff laughed and like winked at me and waved me through. So that's a good news. Whereas before, 2 to 3 months ago, they were saying, no, you have to do this. You have to participate in this ritual to lend your power to the lie. and whatever, shoot me with this red laser kind of thing, like whatever. But yeah, 6 months ago, the temperature taking Nazis took their jobs a lot more seriously, because I noticed this time most of them were like, yeah, you're right, just go on through. And then one guy at the security checkpoint, I had a long conversation with him, again, going into this, who takes responsibility? Like, you're going to say that I have to do something to cause harm to myself, but when the harm comes, you're not going to take responsibility. It goes against natural law. You always take consequences for the actions that you take. And you always reap the repercussions. You certainly do. You can count on this harm coming back to you tenfold, because you're causing harm to others. You're treading on the free will of others. And he got it. We had a long talk, heart to heart, no judgment, just, I reached out and touched him on the shoulder a couple times just to convey, energy that way also, and to break the antisocial distancing rules. And then what else? That went really good, the conversation with the security guy. And then at the check-in counter, when I was describing natural law and taking responsibility for your actions, and in violating the free will of me, and being responsible for my hospital bills and stuff like that, I speak loudly enough for everybody around to hear, including all the other passengers, but I speak compassionately so as not to get anybody in a dissonant vibration of polarity where they want to engage in combat with me. So as I have these conversations, I take note out of my peripheral vision, and I see a lot of passengers listening to what I have to say, and like, I can see the wheels turning in their heads that maybe one day they're going to have the courage to have these kinds of conversations too. That is my prayer. But in the meantime, over the last, say, 6-7 months, every single person I speak to, every shopkeeper, every taxi driver, every store owner, people at the bus stop, everyone I have this conversation, even cops and military, I stop them on the street and tell them, hey, blah, 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 this is a lie, and be careful of the orders that you follow, and et cetera, et cetera. And they all know that this corona game is a lie, that it's a hoax. So that's the first step, though. But the second step is taking the actions that align with what we believe. And unless and until we do that, family, this agenda will continue to roll out, because we just keep giving our power to it. Our actions are very powerful, just like our beliefs. So I want this to be a blessing to you, family. If it is, it's my honor to share it with you. And may it be some, things for you to mull over, and actions for you to consider, like tip for actions for you to take for yourself. And that's it for now. I am heading up to the Vision Quest tomorrow, and I will be offline for about 2 weeks. And then I will be headed to the Sundance. And I just wanted to leave you with this last little adventure series, and tell you that I love you very much, family. And until we speak again, namaste. The light in me sees the light in you. And I apologize again for the wobbly video. I have to use one hand to hold the camera, or the phone rather. But I hope it hasn't been too difficult to follow along. Thank you, family. I appreciate the time that you take to listen to these messages, and the courage that you have to change your belief systems, and the big hearts that you have to line your actions up with your beliefs and put an end to this madness, so we can step out onto the other side and create something really beautiful for our children. That is my prayer. For all my relations, thank you. I love you. Ciao for now.